Hey, sports world. Hey, it's Big J's. Today we're going to do another episode of all sports related, and basically, I have a gentleman here who I had the honor of meeting several years ago. He coached my son in football at Hickman Mills High School, but I'll let him get more into that and talk about his career as a player and as a coach. But so today that's what we're going to do. Don't worry, me and Ryan will be back. My co-host will be back and we'll do our all sports related episodes. But today I'm going to do my one-on-one. I've been getting a good feedback from a lot of these one-on-ones, and it seems like I'm picking the right people. So that's a good thing. So I have Michael Cobbins in the studio, but first I'm going to give a shout out to my sponsor, People of Color Beauty, based in Los Angeles. It's basically a nail polish company owned by African American, as people know now because I did a podcast with her. It's my family member, so it's my little cousin, and she's an entrepreneur and she's doing well. And she's been with me since November, since I started the podcast. Me and her had to sit down in conversations, and she was willing to go ahead and sponsor me. So that's a great thing. And in return, I make sure that I let people know a lot about her. So for the ladies out there, people want to wear fingernail polish. It's vegan based, non-toxic colors for people of color. But as me and her have talked, it's for everyone. So it started out as a brand for people of color, women of color, but it's evolved. So basically, give her a shout out, peopleofcolorbeauty.com. Check out all her different colors and things of that nature. You can reach her through that website and also on Amazon. All right. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, Coach. How about you?
I'm good. So basically, I met you back in, man, it's been a minute. My son graduated in '08. And I don't know if you were coaching there his freshman year, but I know you were there most of his sophomore, junior, and senior year.
So my
I'm pretty
first
sure I
year,
was right. I'm pretty sure.
first year it was '07 at Hickman Mills. That was when
Okay.
I just graduated from Missouri Western,
Okay.
and
You got, okay.
the great Brett Grubble gave me my
Mm-hmm.
first uh, coaching job at Hickman Mills in 2007. So it was definitely 2007.
2007. Okay.
Yes,
And
sir.
earlier this year, we lost Coach Gravel, man. I didn't even realize that he had anything going on. I hadn't spoke to him in so long, but I found out just, through Facebook and things of that nature. I was kind of shocked. I didn't expect that, but he's a good guy, man, and I liked him because he was honest. At least he was honest with me, So, and you dealt with him more than me. How was it like coaching at Hickman Mills though? Because you had some pretty good teams.
We did. Rest in peace, Brett Grubble was a great mentor to me, big brother to me. I would not be in this position I'm in today if it wasn't for Brett Grubble. So I pay him a lot. I owe him a lot. Talking about Hickman, man, I would not be here if I did not work at Hickman because, believe it or not, I was originally scheduled to go to Jacksonville State and get my master's in GA down there as far as coaching football. So I was
Okay.
going to be a grad assistant for football, and I just got married. And what happened was Grubble hired me, and I started coaching there. And man, I fell in love with coaching high school football, being around those kids at Hickman Mills. Those were some of the best kids to be around, man. Talking about fresh out of college, 22 years old, being around those kids, man, they kept me going. And so it was actually, remember, I played Arena One football, so that's
Yeah.
why I didn't go in GA down to Jacksonville State. I
Mm-hmm.
ended up staying here, subbing, coaching, and then in January I left and flew out to LA to play for the LA Avengers. But being around those kids was probably the best time of my life. It made me fall in love with coaching. It made me want to work with high school kids. It made me want to mentor high school kids. And so those kids at Hickman Mills are some of the best kids to be around. I had a blast with those kids.
Mm-hmm. What did you
Flew
coach?
to some.
D-line? Did you coach D-line or
So
linebackers?
yeah, remember that first year I coached D-line and I was a JV head coach, and then they made me coordinate the
Mm-hmm.
DC, along with Brian Banker. And so,
Yeah.
man, it was fun because I didn't know how really good I was, and
Hmm.
so you have these ideas as a kid fresh out of college, but I knew like I had to simplify things. I knew the things that we did in college that high school kids couldn't do.
Yeah.
If we had to scale back some stuff in college because coach felt like we were thinking too much, I knew we had to scale back in high school. So I kind of kept that mindset when I started at Hickman Mills.
Hmm.
And I just felt like teaching D line when I first got there, I was real like heavy on technique and heavy with the hands and using your hands and flipping your hips and, playing with low pad level. And so, man, I love coaching at Hickman Mills.
All the basics, man. All the basics. And then, especially when you coaching D line, leverage is key. And I'm tall and I play defensive line. So I know. And I had always had problems with that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was laziness. Get hot out there and you like, man, but and you just trying to bully guys, but
Mhm.
or whatever. But no, my son really did appreciate you. He loved the coach and he loved playing, um, and you were definitely a good fit there. Definitely a good fit. Um, and then but you played too. Where'd you play high school football at?
So I graduated from Westport High School. I played running
Okay.
back and linebacker for the Westport, who's now what is now closed now.
Mm-hmm.
And from Westport, I went to Missouri Western, and they moved me from linebacker to DN. And
Okay.
so at Missouri Western, I was a 3-time first team all conference player. Um, I was also a 2-time All American, and I got inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2016 at Missouri Western.
That's good
So
stuff, and that's the
they moved me,
MIAA.
man.
Yeah.
Coach, they moved me.
Yeah.
I felt I almost transferred. I called my uncle, Aaron Bell, and I was like, man, they moved me to D line. And I was at that time, I was like 6'1" and a half. I was
Mm-hmm.
like 250. And he was like, don't be afraid to try nothing new. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
but I can play backer. Like I'm just as good as these guys here. I can play middle backer, but because I was big, because I was fast, because I was strong, because I was able to win the one-on-one matchups, somebody thought it was a great idea, Coach Jerry Partridge and Coach Willie, to move me to D line. And I didn't look back since. My first year, I had like 18 tackles for loss,
Wow.
uh, and it was just amazing. I learned how to really play with my hands. The game became a lot simple for me in college because I didn't have to bang people. I was a great run stopper, but I learned the advantage. And the advantage was using your hands. I was great with hand placement. And so after Missouri Western, I went to Arena One and played fullback for the Los Angeles Avengers. And so I stayed out there for a year and had a great time coaching. I just had my daughter, who's now 16 now, and I was working on a trade to get back to play for the brigade, and that's when we had that AFL lockout.
Okay. And the brigade was the team here?
Yup, it was here. The
Is that the
brigade. Coach
team?
Porter was the coach,
Yes.
and it was
Kevin
owned
Porter.
by Neil Smith.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I remember them. Yep, I do remember that.
Mm-hmm.
MIAA football is not a game. That's a really good. I remember for a minute there they were calling it the SEC of Division II football. You know, because
Yeah.
Northwest, Mo West, a lot of the teams in that division, in that conference, I should say, were doing their thing nationally. You know, and you had to be a part of that at Mo West. So, but I guess North. How was it playing against them Bearcats though, man? How was it playing against them at that time? Because I know they were pretty
We don't.
good.
I don't like anything green, Coach. Anything north of us, I don't like it. Man, it was good. It was a great atmosphere.
Hmm.
You knew we were playing Northwest. Like you felt it. Like you felt it from Coach P. You felt it from the coaches. You felt it from the students. Like when I was there, the MIAA was the SEC of football. It was
Hmm.
competitive week in and
Hmm.
week out because they had several NFL guys on their team. And so you knew you had to bring your best. I've had some of my best games against Northwest Missouri State. And so it was just competitive. It was just pure hate. Like We didn't like Northwest. They didn't like us. Anything green, we would not wear green that week. Like, we knew we were going to go play them. And so, I mean, they had a lot of success over the years. This is no secret. They won.
Mm-hmm.
They won the games they were supposed to win, Coach. And I was fortunate enough to at least beat them one time when I was there. So,
and y'all weren't that far away when you think about it. You know, Northwest Missouri State is what, further north from Mo West, but
correct.
Still, it's not that far when you think about it. You know, so it's like an instant rivalry. You know what I'm saying?
It's definitely a rivalry. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you can feel the build up. You can see the tension. Like, it's go to Maryville, you know.
Yeah.
Or those players come to St. Joe. See what happened. Like, it's no love lost. You know?
Okay.
So,
okay. Yeah. See, as close as I got to that, James, my son, he got recruited by Southwest Baptist, and
yep.
That was on the other extreme. You know, from y'all. You know, they were trying to build. You know what I'm saying? And they were trying to build down there at that time. I think they had left MIAA, but were coming back. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been so long ago.
They had left.
Okay.
Yeah, a few came in and left the conference because how strong the conference is. You know, Missouri S&T, which was Missouri Rolla, they were in there. Lincoln, poor Lincoln.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Lincoln just got a 60 ball put up on them every game.
Yeah.
I never had the chance to play Lincoln, but
that was bad, huh? Yeah, and they left.
They left.
Yeah, they got
smart.
Yeah,
smart.
So if they want to get some recruits and some wins, they got to get out of this conference. You know,
get out of the MIAA. You got to think about it, Coach. When I was in the MIAA, you play somebody just about on every team that played in the NFL. We had several NFL guys that I played with at Missouri Western. But UCM was CMSU at that time. They had several NFL players. Washburn had several NFL players. Pitt State had several NFL players.
Yep.
So Emporia, like, you were playing against guys. Think about it. Like, you're playing against guys that probably could have been Division I. But back when we were in school, if you didn't get that ACT, then you became a partial qualifier.
Correct.
Which I was a partial qualifier. I was a Prop 48 kid, so I had the grades, but I didn't have the ACT score. So when I got there, I'm like, man, this ain't really that good. And I start seeing the guys that were from DeSoto, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Oak Cliff, Texas, and I'm St. Louis, and I'm like, these dudes can play.
Yeah,
and I'm like, there's no way these dudes should be here. But they were there. And so if they were at Missouri Western, then you knew UCM was going to have them. They were getting guys down at the JUCO, down to Texas. Coach Fritz did a good job. So you're playing against guys that were NFL talent or played on NFL teams. Like,
Fritz was down at best. He was down at UCM, right?
Yes.
Fritz.
He had Delaney.
Yeah.
He had Delaney Walker.
Yeah, Delaney Walker.
Let's go on and on.
Playing the league.
His arms was bigger than our whole defense arms.
Man.
He was a monster. Returning kicks, playing receiver at UCM. Yeah, Coach. He was the Delaney Walker was the deal.
Oh, he played well in the league too when he was with the Titans. He played well. You know, he wasn't no bum at all. Far from it. You know what I'm saying? He just didn't come from a big school. You know, but he could play.
Coach, he walked past me and was like, "Where you from, fool?" And I was like, "Kansas City." And his arms and the dude's thighs, man, that dude was one big dude, cut up.
Tight end.
He was playing
tight end.
He was playing receiver for UCM.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't even playing tight end, Coach. He was returning kicks. Yes.
Wow.
And how we did our specials, like, we put all the fast cats on specials in college. And them dudes was like, man, we got to go down there and tackle Delaney.
Hey, it is what it is.
Good time, Coach.
Yeah, I bet it was, man. As far as after that, you played that, you play in the AFL. Matter of fact, I got a buddy, they're starting an expansion team, Seattle Sabercats, and they're going to be in that league. 26 is when that'll be their first season. So they're getting
Okay.
everything together now. You might remember Coach Smith. He coached the UA with me.
That name sounds familiar, Coach Smith.
He,
Yeah.
yeah, he was the defense coordinator. He was at Avila too.
Okay.
So, and he played at New Mexico State and UCM. He transferred to UCM from New Mexico State, but he's
Yeah, I
out in
always get the
Seattle now.
Division One guys. Yep.
Yeah, and I played JUCO basketball and I played at the Division I JUCO. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have grades or the score, bro. I was cutting up in high school. I'm be honest, I didn't take it serious, and there was a lot of us like that. So I had to go to JUCO route, but I was lucky enough to go to a JUCO where we were ranked 5th in the country my freshman year,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm talking Division I JUCO. So
Right.
that means you got full rides, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Just like the Jayhawk. Well, I was up in
Mm-hmm.
Wyoming. So,
Okay.
so I get it. I know. I played with some guys. You're like, man, why are you here? You Division I. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And they feel the same way about you. They're
Yeah.
like, and the coaches loved it because you got a bunch of talent.
Yeah.
They had to take this route to do what they needed to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I get it. I wholeheartedly. But the AFL, the arena football, I never really understood it because it was hard for me to get because I was so used to growing up watching 11 on 11. So what was the differences from playing? Was that the first time you ever played arena football?
First time I ever played, Coach. I'm out in LA and I'm playing with people that's been at like Lonnie Ford, USC, Sonny Cumbie, Texas Tech. Like these are all Division I guys. And one thing you can't measure is a man's heart.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I could have played Division I football,
Yeah.
And so when I got out there, what I noticed was it was one-on-one stuff. Like you're going to get exposed if you either can't block or you can't like protect. So
Mm-hmm.
either you're gonna be blocking or you're gonna try to get to the quarterback. And it was a lot of one-on-one collisions. So what happened was they moved me because at that time I was 6'1.5". I call myself 6'2", and I was 255. So they moved me to fullback. And so now you have to, we were a 5-7 step drop team. So now you got to either pick up this Mac backer that's blitzing, or you got to slide protect to get the end or pick up the nose. And so it was a lot more one-on-one stuff. And so if you got beat, you were going to know you got beat.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was more of we were sliding to the left, sliding to the right, or you step up in the A gap and you take on that Mac backer. And these are guys 6'6", 270, 300, 310. And I can recall a game we were playing against the Utah team. And the Utah team had 2 DNs. They were both 6'6". It was Fontaine and Dwayne Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
One was like 285, 6'6". The other one was 300. And then they had Big Jinx in the middle, who was a powerlifting champion. He was like 315. And then they had a Samoan linebacker that played at Utah that was like 265. So you're blocking all these guys. I had to block each one of these guys mano, man to man. And so I'm going, I'm fired up. And at this point, Coach, I'm like, man, can we do a quick play 3-step? Because I'm going, we collision is every play.
Mm-hmm.
And all I know is they switched the Big Jinx guy and they put him in Mac backer, Coach. And they moved the linebacker and put him at the nose. And our coach didn't believe in cut. Coach, I said, there's no way I'm blocking this big 315 cat coming at me full speed. And he comes in the gap. I cut him, the center, the quarterback. I cut everybody, Coach. Because I'm tired of hitting these big dudes. My coach ripped me in film. He was like, Michael Cobbins, don't you ever do that again. We don't believe in cut. I'm like, he wasn't about to embarrass me on film. The cold thing about it is, Coach, I didn't get embarrassed on film.
Right. Yeah. I don't see what's wrong with cutting. That's not, learned that young. You know what I'm saying?
The Jack backer, he just signed the sign. And it's fun. I scored like 6-7 touchdowns, and it's fast paced. I think when we're in Utah, man, I was on that. I couldn't breathe because it was just hard to breathe. So it's real fast action, fast paced. A lot of one-on-one stuff, whether the receivers and DBs. The only it's easy for the quarterback. All he got to do is throw the ball, So I don't understand how they got the most money. But,
Wow.
I mean, it's easy to sit back there and throw the ball as one-on-one.
In arena
You try
football,
to do
yeah.
things in arena, but it's at the end of the day, it's going to come down to playing somebody one-on-one, blocking somebody one-on-one, beating your man one-on-one, defending your guy one-on-one, sometimes tackling the back one-on-one. So it's a lot one-on-one in the arena compared to 11-man football.
Okay. So once you got done playing and you came to Hickman and you started coaching, did you coach anywhere else after you left Hickman, or did you?
I did. So once we had the lockout, we actually found out that we had the lockout on ESPN while I was working at Hickman.
Okay.
And so what happened after Hickman, I went over to Van Horn High School. Jeff Tober hired me along with Jesse Rivers, who was the vice principal at that time, brought me over to ISD Independence, and I was the ISS and recovery room teacher there for 2 years. And there I became the defensive coordinator at Van Horn, which I worked in the district for 2 years, but I was a coach in DC in the district for 4 years, which required me in 2011. I went over to Kipp. I heard about Kipp, and I took the job at Kipp because they were offering a PE job at Kipp, and I was still allowed to be the DC at Van Horn.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you were at Kipp, but still at Van Horn also at the same time.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. So eventually it became all coaching, AD, and all that. And when did that take place? That, of course, that took place after Van Horn, but
it took place during Van Horn. I can tell you the story. So in 2012, they promoted me to AD. So in 11, I was the PE teacher. 12, I was the AD PE teacher. And then what happened was I started a football program at Kipp, middle school program. So now I'm the DC at Van Horn, and I'm the head football coach at Kipp. So at Van Horn, we practice right out to school at 2:30. Kipp didn't get out till like 4:45. So then I will leave Van Horn and come back and coach at Kipp at 5 o'clock and end my day like at 6:30.
Wow. That's tough.
And I did that for 2 years, but then Chris Corey was like, nah, you're not going to do that. Like, you need to make a decision. Like, I care about Van Horn. And so I had to make a decision to step away from Van Horn and to fully focus on building out my programs at Kipp.
And when you got over to Kipp, and I remember you coming up to UA to rap, coming up there, I think you might have your team. I'm not sure it was your freshman team was playing our freshman. I can't remember, but I know you were up there on campus, and we were talking, and I was going. It was Gresham and them. I don't think you knew them at the time, and I make the introduction, and I told Gresham, I said, hey, I said that's the next, and this is not a knock. I was looking at it purely from athletics because of the success they had. I said, Kipp's the next Hogan. And he said, what do you mean? I said, that's the next Hogan. I said, all the kids are going to want to go there and they're going to want to play for that guy down there, And I said, they're going to be a problem. You know what I'm saying? And,
yes, sir.
And they were just looking at me like I didn't really know what I was talking about. And I'm like, I could see it. I already know what's about to happen, and I was right. So, because you did a great job down there, man. It reminds me a lot of University Academy because they were a new fledgling program starting out as a public charter school, no sports, no athletics. And then when they did get athletics, it was hard because they had to get kids to come out and nobody knew about them. And, I hear the stories about how they went to, I can't remember the game, but it was a team far away. I wasn't coaching at the time, and they only had 11 guys, and 12 guys. They had 12 guys, and they went down there and played a game. And I'm like, wow. And how they used to practice on Paseo, in the middle of the road, how the Paseo split up with the grass. And I'm like, man, y'all came from the mud for real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I don't think it was that deep for you, but it was close. I mean, because you didn't have a lot of facilities.
It was definitely similar. Like the first year when you seen us, we were practicing at a park. So
Okay.
we even had some practices out in the parking lot. And so our freshmen had to play every game on the road because we technically didn't have a high school. We had a plot of land and we were building out our high school. So we just knocked out some wings where our lower school campus is for our freshmen to be the first year. And then the second year, we had to go over to the Boys and Girls Club off of Elmwood. So it was tight in there. And we're
Mm-hmm.
still like having practice, busing the kids over, practicing at the park. So that was hard trying to figure out, trying to manage time and get our players on the bus so they can go and practice. So technically, we would bus them back over to the middle school where the football equipment was so they can
Mm-hmm.
have practice. Again, we're still traveling for all basketball games,
Mm-hmm.
and we can't play a home game. And so it was North Kansas City, my best friend Leon Douglas allowed me to play our home games at Northtown. So that helped absorb some of that. And then we still didn't have a track, but we were producing kids to go to state every year in track. So then the junior year is where we finally got into the building. We practiced at Sheffield Park, and that's when I took over as the head coach. But that was hard because we had to walk 3.5 blocks to practice. I'm throwing stuff into our Kipp van. A lot of times that I was doing the work, and then we'll go down to the field and practice. And so that was a lot because then we had to get them back on time, so like scheduling out practice became a very important piece for me because there was so much we had to do in our first varsity season for football. Then basketball became an issue. Yeah, we had the facility, but we didn't have the parking space. Our gym got cut down, the size of it. And so I had to kind of figure out how could I do all this. And then the neighbors were complaining about
Mm-hmm.
people parking and stuff like that. So I had to go build a relationship with the neighbors and put out signs, no parking, no parking. But it was very similar to those UA days. I actually went and talked to Damon Paul, just wanted to just soak up as much as I could from him from the AD piece. Damon Paul taught me probably one of the most valuable things that really helped me out to this day. And so it was vending machines.
Mm-hmm.
Like what about that? Everything that comes through those vending machines at the lower school campus and the high school campus, I get a check written out to
Right.
athletics.
And
I
that's
was
how
able
he
to
did it.
negotiate with our executive director that we could get that money and it go towards athletics. And so we still get checks today for those vending machines. That's one of the most valuable things that I learned from Damon Paul on how to run the program because I felt he did a really good job starting the program in UA and really been in the trenches. Like those are some real grimy days for UA to see UA to where it is now. Like it was somebody that had to come and lay the foundation, and Damon Paul laid the foundation. And so, as far as Kipp, it was somebody like me who had to lay the foundation at Kipp, so someone next can take over and take the mantle and move it into the direction that they see fit. But I felt like he did a really good job with UA and stuff like that. So that was a really big piece of molding me and helping me build out Kipp in the vision that I have for Kipp Athletics.
Uh, yeah, the vending machines were big because I was schooled on that. But I don't think they kept it up. But with the new regime, I don't know if they did or not. I'm not sure. I'm not privy to that. But that definitely is smart, very intelligent to get something like that done because all that money comes to you. And it's during the staff lounge, so the machines are being used.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be money in those machines, and you just got to make sure you cut that deal. You know what
Yes,
I'm
sir.
saying? And wasn't nothing underhanded about it. It was straight up above board. It's like, this is how we gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Or you just not gonna have
Mm-hmm.
your machine in there. I'm gonna put
Right.
somebody else in here that's going, if you Pepsi and you don't want to do that, well, I'll call Coke.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever,
Right.
but somebody's going to do it. And yeah, so that was definitely smart. But you had some success at Kipp. I've been sitting back watching, man, and the program has grown. The basketball program, the football program, uh, basketball program. Y'all made it to the Final Four this year.
We made it to state and lost in the championship.
Oh, you
Got
lost in the
second in
championship
basketball.
game.
We lost in the championship.
I did not thought you meant okay. I
Yep.
was
We
okay.
got second place in state.
That's still
Lost
big.
to
That's big.
I messed up on the name, Princia, but that team was loaded. But it's tribute to our seniors. We have a phenomenal senior class, and one thing I did do when we first started, I promised our seniors I would finish with them. Them seniors mean a lot to me, Coach. Like you said, when you said we were going to be the next Hogan, nobody believed in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was relationships. I was able to hammer out relationships with our kids and our families to get those families and those kids to believe in what I was selling. And at that time, you know, you have Hogan kind of going down, then you got Lincoln on the top, and then you got UA. So you competing with all these schools and everyone coming in trying to get our kids and knowing that we had a special class. And so when you see the fruits of that labor, you see it now, right? Our volleyball team lost in the district championship. Our football team lost in the district championship to Pembroke Hill. You know, our boys basketball team went to state and made it to state. All their losses came to 5A and 6A schools this year.
And they're small 3A, right?
Yeah, we're a 3A school, but we played a 5A, 6A schedule this year just for the purposes where we can get to districts and get over that hump of not getting knocked out in the second round because we have the number one seed. That happened to us 2 years in a row. And so they get to state, and we play a team that's really talented and loaded with Division I kids. I found out was like a boarding school, you know. And then our seniors did a great job. If that's anybody else, Coach, we win the state championship this year in basketball. And then the track has probably been one of our most successful sports with basketball because every year we go to state in track and place. Every year our girls, you know, last year we placed second in the 4x1, second in the 4x2, you know. We had a second place hurdler finish, an 8th place girl in the 200. So those seniors are doing what I knew they would do, and that is help us get over that hump and compete for district titles and state titles and stuff like that. So it ain't been easy. I think I've coached almost about everything, and but I'm so thankful for our seniors and our families, and I'm so proud of this senior class for everything they had to endure, for everything they had to do, knowing that they didn't have certain things and they never made it an excuse. And they showed up. Were they challenging at times? Yeah, they are. But look at everything they accomplished this year. Like, that's special.
Yeah, and and you said something. I don't know if I hope people are paying attention to those coaches out there that are trying to start a program. Because that's one thing I did. I wanted to play up. Once I realized the landscape in Missouri, me being from Pennsylvania, to see how Missouri did their playoff system, it's a lot different than back east. It's easier to make, and this is no knock, but it's just easier to make the playoffs here. And where in Pennsylvania, you have to win so many games in the regular season to even get to districts, or you're going to be at home during district play, where everybody plays in district play here. You know, you might get seated 9th or 8th, but you get to play, you know.
Right.
But it doesn't help you unless you're just so loaded and talented to continuously play teams at your level or beneath, like 2A, 3A schedule with maybe a 1A mixed in every now and then a 4A. That doesn't help, because what happens when you get to the playoffs, districts, or you get to the state playoffs, then the game is a lot faster. And if you did it right, your kids are going to be prepared because they're used to the speed of the game, you know. So, and that worked for me because I was blessed enough to have some good basketball teams at UA. When I started there in 07, we weren't too good at all when I first took over the program, and then I I got blessed with a player that was pretty good. He was transitional in the Kansas City area, and
Really good.
yeah, he's really good. Yeah, and and people, like you said, people were trying to get your kids. People was trying to get him every year. Every year they was trying to get him to transfer, you know, in his, people's ears. But I had a relationship with his mom and dad, and that helped. That really did help because they trusted me, and my trust was earned. So, so it worked out, and he stayed with me, man. We didn't win the state title, but we did well. I mean, we did do well. Hogan was really good at the same time as we were,
Mm-hmm.
and they had more players, but because we had to battle each other, so they were loaded. I remember those games were pretty good though. So we won one. We beat Southeast in the district championship game. And then we lost to Hogan in another district championship game. And Hogan went to the state title game and lost to Charleston that same year. But they were really good, and they were in our way, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If they're not in our way, it's us going up there.
Going to
it was it was just over. It was just hard to get past them with that. Just they had a lot more talent than us. We did have some talented players, but they had more. So
yeah, they were loaded.
Yeah, they were loaded. They were. But yeah, it's about building a program, man. And you got to know how to do that. It's easier when you come in, like whoever comes in now down at Kipp and takes over the program, they don't mess that up. I mean, the blueprint's been laid. So just go with it. You can add some stuff, but just make sure you continually do what Coach Cobbins did, and you'll be okay. Guys that don't know how to do that, they struggle with programs, because they don't know how to go about building it, or they won't listen to someone, whatever it may be. But you like I said, you did a great thing up there, and now you get to move on to a bigger program. Let's talk about that.
Man, I'm excited. It's so many things that play a factor in this because I promised my seniors I would go out with them. 10 of our football players signed letters of intent at Kipp to go play at the next level. And so that was my dream. And so I had an opportunity to apply for to be the next head coach at Winatonka, and I did it. And I felt like a lot of people probably thought I was the dark horse in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I kept telling my wife is if I can get this job, then my daughter could come back to school with me, and then I could coach my son one day. And so I had a lot of motivation to really get this job and get this done. And this is where I wanted to be. I feel like Winatonka is a dream job for me. And so I went in on the first interview, and it was basically like a 30-minute interview where just answer questions and stuff like that. And I felt like I nailed it. I felt like I was sincere. I felt like I was the person for the job. And once that interview was over with, I think the AD, Coach Barge, was just like, oh my God, I actually believe everything you saying. And Dr. Tate, who's the principal, was like, okay, let's see if we can bring him back. And Barge in the middle was like, hey, we're going to bring you back and see what you can do. And so I had another interview, and this one was like, this is my specialty. If you tell me to present, I'm going to nail it because I'm used to speaking in front of people. Like, that is a gift that I have to speak in front of people. And so tell me I have to do a 25, they called and told me, you got a 25-minute presentation, and then you got a 20-minute answering question. So I go there and I speak, and I nail it. I didn't speak about Kipp. I spoke about Tonka and what I'm going to do at Tonka and where we're going to go at Tonka and what I'm going to do with the players at Tonka. And so I think that resonated with them in that hiring committee. And then they asked me questions after that. And I just felt like it was my job. Once I made it to the final round, I was like, this is my job to lose. This is my job. I know they're going to have to take a chance on me. And so when I got that call, I was like, congratulations. I was like, oh, you know, I was so thankful for Dr. Tate and Mr. Barnes to believe in me and to give me an opportunity to come up and coach 5A football. I was so excited because now my son is already in the feeder system in
Mm-hmm.
North Kansas City. So he goes to Toppin Elementary with one of my former coaches. My wife is an administrator in the North Kansas City. So it just makes it right. It's like it's a perfect fit for all of us to be in the North Kansas City School District. And so when I got that call and they asked me, do I accept? I was like, yeah, I accept
Mm-hmm.
because I knew my time was up at Kipp and I was looking for the next thing. I want to focus on coaching high school football. Nothing else. No admin, no nothing else. No coaching girls basketball. I want to be the best version of me and focus on coaching high school football. I've never had that opportunity to just be a high school football coach, do weightlifting, and just focus on football. And so now I have that opportunity. So just imagine, coach, what I'm about to do when I'm able to just focus on football and no other sport.
No
No
AD
calls,
stuff, none of that.
no middle school stuff. Because you got to remember, coach, I was over all the middle school charter stuff too. I was
Okay.
a part of the middle school and KCPS coming together to merge together and form a middle school inner city conference.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to do none of that no more. I gave all that up to the guys from Kaufman this past year because I knew coming into this year, I knew I had to win in football. I had to win at Kipp. And so me winning at Kipp, I had to show people I can improve from a 2-7 year to making it to the district championship and doing really well. And also having 12 boys, we signed 10, but 12 boys got offers. Now, out of the 12, one of them has a full ride offer to Missouri State because he got the KC Scholars Program, and then the other one wants something else. So he decided he's not going to sign on signing day. But he
Mm.
eventually signed. But that's 12 out of 16 seniors, coach.
That's
And
good.
so now I have the opportunity to take everything I've learned and go put that into Winatonka. And so I'm excited about the challenge. I feel like I'm the right person for the job, and I feel like I'm gonna go and change some things up there because of who I am and what I believe in and what I've been able to accomplish, and just pour that into that whole community up there. So I'm pumped about it, Coach.
You should be. You earned it, and congratulations, man. Continued
Thank
success up there. And I'm definitely uh, want to. I keep saying that I need to get out more and go see some sports. I ain't been to no basketball games, no football games in the last 2 years. I need to get out. You know, Stu's invited me to Grandview, uh, Mooch over to Pembroke. You know, Jacob over to Bishop Miege.
you.
I just don't. You know, it's just hard for me right now. But I'm gonna start getting around. I want to see these. I want to see y'all, man. I want to see y'all at work. You know, whatever sport it is, I want to see it. So I want to be there. And I you know, Winatonka. That's a big. I was telling somebody the other day on a podcast that I did that I had was up there for a cheerleading competition. My granddaughter does competitive cheerleading,
Mm-hmm.
and we were just going back and forth with it, messing around on air. And I was like, man, but they got some nice facilities. They really do. It's a big school. I mean, so that's something that you're going to have at your exposure, you know, right there, you know, numbers you're not going to have to worry about. You won't have to worry about numbers at all. So I don't know how many you had at Kipp, but I know there's going to probably be more at Winatonka, I'm guessing.
My
You know, I'm
numbers are
not.
probably it's gonna probably triple
Yeah,
in
you know,
Winatonka.
yeah, and then you got a freshman JV and varsity program.
Freshman JV and varsity program, and then
Yeah,
I'm
you.
over the middle school program too. We have a middle school program.
But you'll probably just hire a good coach and make sure they do their thing.
Correct.
You
He's
know.
already in place, and so basically, I'm just working with him and helping him in whatever area he may need help. I want to be able to go over there to games. Eventually, my son's gonna play there when he gets to the 7th grade because he has to go to the 6th grade center first. So just doing everything I can and trying to establish a relationship with our kids, because you got to recruit your own kids these days too. So I want them to know me at the middle school. I want to play a big role over there. I want to be present over there. I want to be able to go to games. I want kids to know me. I want families to know me. And so these are the things that I learned from Kipp, and I learned from my previous years of coaching and being with Grubble. And so this is what I have to do to build this program. Not only do I want to build this program, I want to be dominant in this program. I want us to be dominant in the North. I don't want us to be treated like a stepchild. You know, I feel like this role is very similar to the role when I had over at Van Horn. And then we were able to go to another level. And then we were able to beat the Wim Christmas and the Trumans. You know, I think one year we beat Oak Grove, and that really transcended our football program. And so as I look into this role, like, I just not only want to beat the teams in our conference, but I want to be up there with Platte County. I want to be up there with St. Pius. And so what can I do differently? What can I build on from what they did in the previous years? And what can I do differently? And so me knowing that one day I will have an opportunity to coach my son, that's going to be special itself, because MJ can play. He's a special kid. I always say things like it's in the blood, but I expect to, like, we need to be competing for state titles when he comes in there, because I'm already looking at kids in this age group. You know, I'm already building relationships with the kids in the age group. Sometimes people get caught up with just the high school, and you forget about those younger ones that are coming. We're trying to build something. We're trying to build a program, not just where we compete for 1 and 2 years. I want to compete for the next 7, 8 years at Tonka. And how do you do that? That is getting out in the community, building relationships. You know I have one special kid in my own house that I'm not going to give him nothing. And I tell him every day, what are you going to do differently from anybody else? You know, are you going to be a player, or do you want to do it? And he's like, Daddy, I'm playing on the A team when I get in this 8th, 7th grade B team. Are you serious? And so it's those little things that just resonate with me. So you can't forget about those younger kids getting into the elementaries and doing camps and stuff like that. So I'm not only talking about it, but I'm actually going to do it. And so that's the most important piece to me, is just making sure you recruit and keep your own kids. You know, now whether kids want to move into the Tonka district
That's one
and want to
thing.
be a part of it,
That's not on you. That's just that just happens. Yeah. You
but
know,
that's a part of the process. Like, kids are attracted to winners, and families are attracted to winners. And take a look at what Jamar Mosey did. You know, he went to Lee Summit North and he did some things, and I got the blueprint, Coach. I saw the blueprint and I see what he did. And so I'm like, okay, if he was able to do that, then I can do that at Tonka. I want kids wearing Tonka jerseys, younger kids on our sideline saying, I can't wait to be a Griffin one day. And so that is my dream. That is my vision. And so I'm excited to get the work and get this stuff started, because we got some special kids up there, and I've been in communication with all my boys, and I will clear my own boarding like on May 31st, and I'll start spring ball the second week of April in lifting. And so those kids don't know, like, what type of coach they got. I'm fiery, I'm passionate, I love my players, I do anything for my players. And so they got a winner in me, because I'm not going to be satisfied until we get to what we need to get to. I always say this, Coach. When we win, it's all the players and coaches. When we lose, it's my fault.
Right. That's how it works. No matter
It's
what, that's how it works. It's just part of it. You know, right. That's just part of it, man. That's how it is in coaching. But it sounds like your son gets it already. Yeah. Like he said, B team. That what? And it seems like he knows he's not giving me nothing. Yeah. I'm gonna have to take this. You know. So as long as he keeps that attitude, oh yeah, you got a stud. You know what I'm saying?
Funny. Somebody brought it up and like, yeah, A team, B team in 7th grade, 8th grade. And he was like, B team? Like, I ain't playing on no B team. Playing on the A team in the 7th grade.
Right.
So we have this thing. I'm like, when you go in your freshman year, you should be pushing to play varsity. I'm like, anybody think they can line up against you, you put them on notice and you go out there and compete. I'm always competing with my son in everything we do because I want that to carry over. Whether it's in his academics, with his buddies. We ride in the car and he goes, yeah. He's talking about his friends and they play the game. And he was like, yeah, my friends, my friend group is really diverse, you know. And I'm just looking at him like, what? But his friends are smart. Some of his friends are in the gifted program. He was like 2 points short of being in the math gifted program, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so just to see who he's hanging with is letting me know that, you know, okay, he's hanging around the right people. He's going to go to 6th grade with these people. And these are going to be his friends in high school, you know? He's going to meet other people along the way, but he's surrounding himself around the right people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Kids that are excelling academically. MJ excels academically, but he's also going to excel in athletics as well. So that's been my dream, coach. That's been my motivation to be able to coach my son. I feel like Dion taking effect because I see it. Like, I've coached and poured for so long in other people's kids. And my family make the biggest sacrifice of them all. And so now it's like, okay, do I let him go there or do I want to coach him? And I'm not the type to be like, I don't want to coach my son. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
the type like, no, I know what's best for you. I'm going to coach my son. And so I want to prepare him for college. You know, we only got a certain amount of time with them, coach, before
Right.
we got to let him go. And it goes by fast. And so I'm realizing it with him about to go to the 6th grade and my daughter about to be a junior after this year. Time is going by fast, coach.
Yes. It flies. It flies.
Yes.
And, you know, next thing you know, he'll be signing a letter of intent for academics or sports. It doesn't matter as long as it's
Mm-hmm.
getting paid for, you know.
Right.
But that'll be here in no minute. You'll be like, man, that's just me and Coach just had this conversation. It seemed like the other day, but it's gonna
Right.
fly. It's gonna fly. Let me ask you a question. I don't know. And back where I'm from in Pennsylvania, football, they used to call them hell weeks. And so what they would do, high school, there was there was a few high schools around the area, one of mine's being one of them, that would have that first week of, this is back when coaches didn't care about no heat index. They didn't care about none of that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. They didn't care.
Right.
He probably was on the tail end of that. I'm 58. So,
Yeah.
you know, you better get to practice. I don't care. I want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? It's hot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, whatever. We're going to be out here, you
Right.
know. But we had Hell Week, and you had to stay in the gym that first week of 3 days. You didn't get to go home. They brainwashed you. So it was kind of like a college camp. You know what I'm saying? It's because you
Mm-hmm.
slept in the gym. You could bring an airbag, a sleeping bag, little portable TV. You had to deal with hazing. Hopefully that's, you know, but that was just part of it back then.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't get too crazy. Some people would wake up with no eyebrows. Crazy to you
You can't
know.
do that now, coach.
I know you can't do that now.
You can't
You
do
can't
that now.
no, you can't do that at all. None of
Yeah,
that.
we can't do none of that now.
That's yesteryear. That's the dinosaur. You can't do
Yeah,
none
we can't do none of that now, coach.
of that. But you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah, I know
right?
what you're talking about. I have to
So
have a conversation with my guys if we stay there. I'm about to tell them, hey, we ain't doing this. I ain't got time to be. Yeah, go
you
ahead, coach.
right. So yeah, that's something. Take that out. Take that out the recipe. But
Yeah.
as far as brainwashing your kids, is that something that any high schools around here do it? Do they do that, or is that a no-no,
I,
or is there rules against it in Missouri?
we have like I've had where our kids stay the night at the school, and then you run like camps, you practice and stuff like that. Now, obviously, they don't have to practice in the type of heat we were practicing in, because when you see that temperature and it's a certain temperature, you can't practice. But we do have like where you try to make it hard for them, where you bring them together and to like try to bring the team so they can bond together. Like we still do that. Like there's some things that I want to do with our team, where there's a camp or rotary to where you can stay in the cabins and do the bonfire, have practices, they feed you and all that. That's a part of it, right? And you want them to work. But the brainwashing part, like you want to instill some type of dominance into your team. You want them to know, like, it's us versus everybody. And so I use that approach because I want to build my players up. I want them to feel like they're unstoppable. I like it's a sense of pride that you want them to take with wearing their name across their chest. And so the old school ways, we can't do it the old school ways. I'm gonna tell you when it got soft. I remember when I was in college and we were having true tour days at Western. And then all of a sudden they switched the rule up to where you couldn't have tour days like that no more. So like it was going into like was it my sophomore year, junior year? And I was like, thank you, Jesus. Because at this time I'm starting. Oh my God. My freshman year, we practice where it's the Chiefs field is located there down in Missouri Western. And we practice in the old student facility thing. That walk from practice to the locker room, Coach, I used to just sit out there under that tent like I ain't making that walk probably in another hour. I ain't in a rush. But it was hot. Like, they didn't care. But they had to change some things up on us to where they start getting a little soft on us, Coach. But
there were some things happening. There were some things. There were some things happening. Yeah. You know,
still had them 5 a.m. morning runs that you hated. 5 a.m.?
Yeah.
Coach, do that. No, you have to be on the court at 5 a.m. Not 5:05, 5:10, 5 a.m.
Ready to go.
I hate those, Coach. Oh, I hated them.
No player likes that. Players don't like that stuff, man. We get it, but we don't like it.
You can't do 6 or 7. I've been to the point where, Coach, I was so tired, I wouldn't even eat breakfast. I'd just sit there and drink all the flavored juice and mix them up. Cranberry and apple, pineapple, because you just didn't feel like eating. Because your body was just that done. Like, it was some times, but I think we would do some team bonding there to where I can pour into them so they can get to know me. It's kind of funny because I've been communicating with all my players already, and so they're excited. I think they're excited about me coming. I think they're excited about football, and there's a very special group of like seniors that we have there that I got to lean on, and I just think they want success, and so if they want the success that they tell me, then you got to do something that you ain't never did before, and so I got a great summer schedule planned out for us.
You gotta basically, what's the word I'm looking for? When you sometimes you got to do stuff that don't feel comfortable to be great.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not always going to be comfortable. And we know in football, it's not always comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's not.
Any type of conditioning, it don't matter what sport, it's not comfortable. But you can't not do it. You got to do it. You know? Right. So, and once kids are always going to be players, period, even pros. They don't want to do all that craziness. You know what I'm saying? Who does? Nobody wants to, but you got to do it. You know what I'm saying?
It's a part of the process.
Yeah, it's just part of the process. It's just, it hurts.
Yeah. You ain't never lied, Coach.
Yeah. I'm bringing back memories now.
This is stupid. Why are we even doing it? I felt like my coach was just making up stuff when we would do certain things, looking for that period to end.
Oh, I would. I used to do that as a coach. I did as a coach, but as a coach, I would create problems. You know what I'm saying? Usually during conditionings, like at the
Yeah.
beginning of the year, I had to find, you're going to run anyway, but that's part of basketball. You're going to run. So
Right.
you already know that. But I wanted to get extra running in. And sometimes I would just go off the deep end just because I felt like it. And tell my assistant, yeah, I'm just messing with them. You know what I'm saying? But they gotta get this. They think I'm mad. I'm not mad at them. I'm just messing with their minds.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I got to get the best out. Hey, it's just part of it. You got to do what you got to do, man. I coached at a junior college in Pittsburgh for a guy who's in the Hall of Fame, Junior College Hall of Fame. Coach Shea passed away several months ago. And when I was done playing and I was working, raising my family, I wanted to get back into coaching. And he brought me on his staff as a volunteer. And it was a community college in Pittsburgh, similar to Penn Valley. No dorms, but really good players that didn't get to go. They had great issues, but they stayed home and went there first. And one day I came to practice because I was working a full-time job, and he used to tell me, "Get there when you can. Don't worry about it." And I would always try to make time to get there. And one day I walk into it, and his office used to sit right off the gym, so he had a glass and he could see the gym. And he had them so disciplined that they knew what they were supposed to be doing while we were in that office. And it was supposed to be stretching, free throw shooting, that type of stuff, preparing for us to come out on the floor and start practice. They out there shooting half-court shots, being loud, throwing the ball full court. So I turn around, I look, because I'm like, and you can hear it all, the hey, he, ha, ha. So me and the other assistant coach, we like, you want us to go out there and deal with that? He's like, no, go ahead, let him. He said, nah, go ahead. No, don't worry, let's finish our meeting. He said, I'll take care of that. I'm like, oh, I already know what's about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And we get done with our conversation. He had his meeting, his coach's meeting with us. He walks out on there. He said, everybody get out my gym right now. Get out my gym. And they're like, looking at him like, he said, be here tomorrow at 6 a.m. You better be here. Y'all got 2 practices, 6 a.m. and then our regular practice in the afternoon. He said, oh, they're like, Coach, we apologize. We were just, nah, y'all know better. Y'all know better. He kicked everybody out that gym, and he came to us and they didn't want to leave because they were like, they knew they messed up. So they were trying to correct it on the fly. Nah, it's too late now. You know what I'm saying? And then he comes back and he said, hey, y'all ain't got to be here that early. I got it. And all he did was run them. I walked in the gym that afternoon, the next afternoon. I said, hey, how was this morning? They just looked at me like, dropped their heads. Oh, I said, all right now. Y'all probably didn't even pick up a basketball, huh? But that's just part of it. You know what I'm saying? That's just part of it. And then that's you gotta be able to do that to players, man. So they get it. I used to tell players all the time, Coach, and you may have told them this too. I will not have a problem with losing a game to prove my point to you. I don't have a problem with it. I don't want to lose, but to prove my point, I will lose a game. That means I won't play my best guys if y'all acting like jerks. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to end up taking an L unless the bench does their thing. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't got nobody to blame but y'all, because y'all know how to act. So coaching is psychological warfare.
Yeah,
it is. It's psychological warfare. But I think you're ready. You've been ready. But it's I just can't wait to see how you do out there, man. And it's going to be anybody. Have you heard any noise? You don't got to mention no names, but have you heard any noise about who may be taking your position down here?
You know what? They haven't. They just opened up the position, and I've been telling them left and right, Coach. I'm being honest with you. Like, I need to get this done. Like, this ain't something you can just throw on somebody my last day is May the 30th. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we need to get somebody in here. We don't have a football coach. I've been saying it. So they just opened it up. And so they have not said who they going to hire yet because it was just open last week, coach.
Okay.
Last week. But they've been knowing since like the beginning of February that I was leaving. So here it is. It's March 23rd, coach.
Yeah, they should
So,
have
I
been
mean,
on that.
yeah, they moving a little slow with it. And I was very honest with them about losing kids, uh, maybe losing coaches, and so I have been very vocal about them keeping my assistant AD, Adrian Clayton, who I think will do a phenomenal job. She know the lay of the land. She know the expectations. She know how to do it. She's seen me do it. She worked with me, and so I think she's a great fit. But it's a district level job, so I don't know what they're going to do. I got a notification saying I was a part of the hiring committee.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know. They didn't want me to leave.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Mm-hmm.
like, Coach, what can we do to keep you here? It's like, can you build me a
Mm-hmm.
football field and a track out there?
Yeah, that's what I need.
Don't have it.
I
So,
need
yeah,
that.
so currently right now, they don't have nobody, Coach. They don't,
Mm-hmm.
at least I don't know if they have somebody in mind.
Does the basketball coach stay in place, whoever's down there right now?
Yeah, I mean, he's staying in place.
Okay, so everybody just need to get a football coach. You need to get it
They have to get a football coach and a volleyball coach.
and a volleyball coach. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So okay. Um, so those people, I guess, hopefully they're on LinkedIn or wherever they're doing their thing, and Indeed, wherever else is being posted. And what's that Missouri
Mm-hmm.
website for teachers and all that type of stuff. So, um, and then I'll definitely put it out there to certain people if they're looking on getting back into the coaching game or already coaching and looking to move on.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I think it's a good job. I know the facilities situation needs to be upgraded. I get that,
Yeah.
but relatively Kipp is new, so they still got some work to do, and I think hopefully they'll get it done. You know,
Yeah. I mean, whoever's coming in, you're gonna put your own flavor to it.
mm-hmm.
That's what I've been able to do when I looked at hiring coaches, bringing in the right coaches, bringing in the right fit for our kids, coaches that can help me and support me. Like, that's always been the thing from day one, to get the job done. And so I would like to say we've been very successful at it. Um, and so I just, any way possible that I can help them find a replacement, I'm willing to do that. So, however, I do think we got it inside the house, but I understand you got to open it up for everybody too. So I get
Mm-hmm.
that too.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully
Yeah.
the person gets a fair chance.
Okay. So, hey man, it's lovely to I don't want to elongate this because the information that you've given and the story that you told is pretty good, and we can go on and on and on and just talk for days, you know. But congratulations again, man, on that move. Like I said, that you have much success up there and do the same thing you did down Kipp, but even more, So be nice to bring home a 5A state title. That'd be nice.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That'd be
sir.
a good thing, and put some dominance up there where it needs to be with you, So,
Mm-hmm.
other than that, you have anything else to pass on for those people who are
No,
trying to get into
I,
coaching or trying to run a program on how?
just for anybody. I mean, it's work. It's always going to be work. You're always going to have to make a sacrifice. Uh, but always keep the kids in mind first. Yeah, I've always kept this philosophy. It starts with the kids. It ends with the kids. So everything and anything we do, we need to keep the kids in mind with it. And so, and if you can do that, then you're doing what's best for kids. And
Good.
you can go at home and you can lay down and you can wake up and know that you did right by kids. And so that's always been my thing. I know I did right by our kids. And so I appreciate you having me on today, Coach, and sharing
Appreciate you.
uh, everything with you. And so I look forward to one day in the future talking again about how year one go for us. And so
Okay.
I'm
All
excited
right.
about that.
All right. And I hope to see you on that April 4th.
Yes, sir.
and I'll make sure I send you that flyer. But I appreciate having you, Dan. Man, I mean, Coach Cobbins, man, like I said, continued success, man. That's big. That's a big job.
I
So,
definitely appreciate it, Coach.
do your thing up there, man. And you definitely got my support, so whatever you need, you just let me know. If I can do it, I'll do it.
Thanks.
I
I appreciate
appreciate
that,
you.
Coach.
No problem, man. No problem. All right. I want you to have a great weekend. Finish your weekend off, and hey, go Tonka.
Go Tonka.
All right, man.
All right, Coach. Have
Peace.
a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you too.